Ethiopia. Welcome, Abel.
Hello.
Thank you so much for joining our discussion today. We are so honored to have you because it's very, very important that we will continue to discuss all the topic that it was presented.
God. Yes, and I totally agree with you, Marina, that this event was of a significant importance. We will discuss today with our guests various topics, but first of all, I would like to ask them, what was your impression from the conference? What was basically your feelings, both of you as participants, that because we know that you took part in the conference, and Aslan, what can you share with us? What were your impressions and feelings and understandings?
Очень информативно.
For me, it was very informative, and in reality, such a mixed feeling. This is what I had.
Не то что обиды, что ли, за людей, за то, что вот
I would say it's a feeling, I wouldn't say it's an offense or resentment at people, but it's like a little sorrow that there is lack of understanding that we are approaching a disaster, and many people, unfortunately, do not perceive it seriously. They do not understand what is really happening. And for me, the greatest impression was, for example, the human trafficking, people suffering. And of course, people do lack understanding. They do not approach this movement. But on the other hand, those people who did get involved and they participate, this is really important what they are doing, what all of us are doing, and how to call it correctly. It is such a God-pleasing deed, actually, and a great work. I really admire those who have been doing all this, who arranged this conference and did all the preparations. Indeed, I have a mixed feeling. Mixed feeling because of the information regarding garbage, this garbage mafia, and also this, refusal or ignorance of famous people, celebrities and politicians who rejected invitations to the conference, who actually were able to, as it is now fashionable, they have fan clubs, but at least they could say a couple of words, spend a couple of minutes and just post this video in social media in their fan clubs. Of course, those people will find out this essential information through their stars, through their idols, and probably some share of kindness would be added, and probably some person would open his card. Fortunately, people proved to be egoistic, just as Robert said, the secretaries or assistants. I think that those secretaries, were not selected by those celebrities in particular, and actually this indicates, as Igor Mikhailovich once said, these are rhapsodes. They do not solve anything on their own. They are like puppets. puppet figures which attract attention, which are used for attracting attention, but in reality, they are being manipulated. But still, many people, and me, including myself, we had a hope that they, being so famous, they would have said at least a couple of words for all people.
Thank you very much, Aslan. I truly understand and truly agree with you that the information that was presented on this conference is not easy to digest. And a little remark about what you just said, that you were really disappointed that famous people did not come. But it has bad and good sides. We knew that it will be like that, but we still decided to conduct that huge social experiment. And one side of this experiment, we need to understand why we decided to invite those famous people, because we received so many requests, people asking us, please invite famous people. If they will come, they will help us to spread the information. So basically what it is, it's just a shift of the responsibility. That's exactly what consumer society wants from us. And right now, the good news, we know right now, we know why it happened, why they didn't come. And we know right now that nobody will care if we regular people will care. So that means we need to act and not waiting again. So somebody will come and save us. Everything is up to us. We need to act. We need to share the information and not waiting for somebody. And I think that's the really, really good side of why they didn't come. Because right now, we people, we know that we need to grow up and we need to act. Avol, could you please share your expression about the conference? Go ahead.
Thank you for inviting me. Just I feel many things from the conference, even many of them I can't express in words, because many things are happening in the world. If you see climate change, human trafficking, and also the organ trade, this all are based on business gaining. And when I see or I hear these facts, I'm very shocked, because what is going on the world in reality is a different phase. And what is going on openly by the politicians, leaders, even by the religious leaders are different things. Nobody are telling the truth for the mass or for the people, because they only want to serve or wants to survive from many problems on the world. That is, it means that is the only illusion, because we are on one or in one home. This planet is one home for all of the peoples on it. And if the great collapse or any problem comes to this planet, we will survive together or we will die together. So when I see, for example, the climate change as a global, the movement is only based on the carbon dioxide and also planting trees, conserving natural resources. As I see from scientific facts presented by scientists, the change is coming from inside. That means from micro level. So what we are seeing on the world or on the surface of the earth is the effect of that cause. So when this also makes me to feel bad feelings, because what is going on as a global for the conserving the natural resources, just it is to take the attention of the community. And the reality is planting trees, conserving natural resources, many things can't reverse the coming cataclysms. So as you see or we heard from the conference, many persons are, or many celebrities are invited, many government officials are invited, but they didn't come because they are making business on their peoples. They are not telling the truth. They are not telling what is coming to this planet. So just they are making busy the whole community by telling them political agenda or many unproved things. Also, they are holding back the scientific facts gained by scientists, because if many people they are leading awaken from the illusions they are telling, they lose their power. So because of this, they are not telling the people the reality of this planet. And also the other thing I proved from just conference or the international global conferences about the human trafficking and organ trade. For example, as I heard from mass media, the organ trade going on in Nigeria is under the name of the religious rebel. You remember there is Boko Haram there. They abducted many girls from school, from everywhere, and they released and back to their home. All of them was pregnant. So that is for the not it is just to make or to get the many masses. They use the religious name, and many of them gathered there and faced this problem under that movement. So I get also this fact because I have not any detailed information about that in Nigeria, what was going on. And I realized what they are doing under the name of the religious war. The other thing I observed was that about the waste and about the ocean, what is going on in ocean, under ocean, and about the plastic material dumped in the ocean and what it is causing to the life in the ocean. Also, that makes me very excited. So generally, I get the reality of the world from the conference. Thank you.
Thank you, Abol. And yes, as you mentioned, basically we reached to such a depth of humanity that, and now we have to climb up again, because many people approach this the way that, okay, my house is okay, nothing is happening, I'm safe, and I don't care what's happening somewhere else. But people need to be aware of the fact that what happens to somebody else is also affecting them, and is actually happening to them, because we are one single whole living on this planet. And if something happens wrong in Africa, it will affect every single continent on the planet. And this is not just something that we can close our eyes. And as you mentioned, there are politicians and superstars that actually put the profit in front of humanity. Well, not all of them, okay, I agree that there are individuals that don't do that, but majority of them, they do. And it's very sad. I suggest that we watch the video with the effects of the cataclysms. What are their effects, what it is affecting, and how it is actually, what is happening on planet. Because the only way I think people could wake up is to constantly showing them and presenting them this information that this is actually what is happening. Just wake up, guys. So if I can ask our team to show the video now.
Today, scrolling through the news feed, we see how natural disasters are increasing around the world. But if we look around, it may seem to us that cataclysms occurring in other countries or on other continents do not concern us because they are so far away However, the reality is just the opposite. Our planet has entered a phase of instability and anomalies. While one part of the planet is drowning, another one is dying from droughts. Drought is about to become the next pandemic, and there is no vaccine to cure it. Most of the world will be living with water stress in the next few years. Demand will outstrip supply during certain periods, said Mami Mitsutori, the UN Secretary General's Special Representative for Disaster Risk Reduction. Shortage of drinking water is not even a catastrophe, it is death. This year, 2021, marked the first water shortage in the Colorado River, which provides water to about 40 million people in the western United States and more than 10,000 square miles of farmland. The Colorado River feeds two major reservoirs, Lake Mead and Lake Powell. Its water level has dropped to its lowest level on record. This year alone, drought and water shortages have significantly changed the usual human life on almost all continents. The effects of drought are already directly affecting many people and are getting worse. Food shortages, a spike in commodity prices. Has this already affected you? Or are you still not seeing this? The dry summer of 2021 in Kazakhstan led to an overall decrease in yields and livestock deaths. In 2020, Kazakhstan exported about 8 million tons of grain to 40 countries, but the forecast of grain exports for 2021 has decreased by almost 30%, down to about 6 million tons. According to the president of Kazakhstan, the declining wheat harvest in several regions of Kazakhstan will jeopardize food security in the Central Asian region by 2030. This is a simple, practical example that the fight against climate change is our common cause. Shallowing of waterways in Argentina is already causing supply disruptions. Brazil is the largest exporter of soybeans, coffee, and sugar, and the second largest supplier of corn and iron ore. A drought in that country is exacerbating the crisis in the global supply chains for these commodities and raw materials. The familiar aromatic Brazilian coffee is becoming more expensive and has already become a scarce commodity. These are just a few examples amongst many. In the world, all supplies are links of one global chain. A breakdown in one of them poses a threat to the supply chain around the world. What awaits us? The permafrost melting threatens to have equally devastating consequences for millions of people living in the coldest regions of the planet. This problem will affect over 70% of the infrastructure in the polar cities of Russia, Canada, and the United States. And these processes can no longer be stopped regardless of future measures established by the Paris Agreements. According to the estimations made by scientists at the Russian Institute of the Earth's Cryosphere, the boundary of the permafrost zone has moved more than 30 kilometers to the north over the past 40 years. According to Dmitry Drozdov, director of the institute, this process is irreversible and it is impossible to stop it. Houses in permafrost land are installed exactly on 8-meter-long adfreeze piles. We have a thawing of up to 5 meters deep everywhere, so we are only 3 meters away from the critical point, said the director of the Environmental Education Center. Where are people supposed to go? After heavy rains and flooding of crops in the major vegetable province of Shandong, the cost of vegetables in the Chinese capital has risen sharply by almost 40% in just 1 month. In the opinion of China's popular microblog Weibo users, vegetables are now more expensive than the country's staple meat, pork. The sunny state of Texas appeared to be unprepared for the drastic changes in temperatures during the winter of 2021. In this typically warm southern state, the temperature dropped to minus 18 degrees Celsius. Due to high demand for indoor heating, the entire energy system failed, freezing in their own homes. Many people were forced to stay warm in their cars and cook food using candles.
Look at that water. I cannot believe it. I cannot believe it at all. Look.
Because the pipes had burst from the frost, there were problems with the water supply, making people wait in line for hours to get drinking water.
My house has still water frozen. All the pipes are frozen, and I have 6 children to take care of.
The electricity crisis set in motion a chain of consequences that led to a humanitarian catastrophe. People were not prepared to face such abnormal conditions. There was no electricity for 3 days, no water for 3 days. I didn't have food for 60 hours, and I felt very bad. The residents of Texas could not have imagined that tomorrow they would be on the brink of survival.
Everything's flooded.
Today, climate anomalies are occurring all over the planet. Anyone can become trapped. That's what happened to the residents of the Chinese city of Zhengzhou in July 2021. As they stepped into the subway car, people had no idea what a nightmare this trip would turn out to be for them. And some of them would never come home to their loved ones again. Due to abnormal precipitation, a third of the annual rainfall fell within just 1 hour. Subway tunnels were flooded by the flash flood. Subway cars were blocked, and one of them ended up being submerged in water. I was very scared, but the most frightening thing was not the water, but the decreasing air supply in the car, said one of the subway passengers. Global climate change has already caused food shortages around the world, and the situation is worsening catastrophically. Will we have anything to eat and drink tomorrow? More than 1,140,000 people in Madagascar are desperately trying to survive the famine due to the drought.
We cut them like this, but this one can be cut. It's as hard as a tree. Today we have absolutely nothing to eat except cactus leaves.
Hungry, homeless, and desperate people literally pounce on arriving humanitarian aid trucks that carry basic necessities and food. They snatch the bags from one another. Confrontations erupt, leading to fistfights. Even today, natural disasters are dramatically changing people's fates. A person finds himself alone with his grief. And the facts confirm this. Where should people caught in the epicenter of natural disasters go? After all, their losses from the raging disasters are incalculable. The consequences of climate change will not spare any of us. In the end, people may lose the most precious thing they have: life. Tomorrow, you may be faced with the question, how can I survive? Natural disasters take us off guard, and as a consumer society, we are failing to cope with that. And this is our reality. But we still have our only chance to survive, and that is to build the creative society. What kind of society we choose, such will be our future. And today, this choice depends on each and every one of us.
Yes, that truth is so scary to see. But it also motivates so many people already to act. And you saw it like 100 languages of simultaneous interpretation. That's the proof of it. And I would like to ask Aslan, who were helping to find people who will do the translation. Aslan was searching for people of different languages to invite them to participate in this big conference and share the information with the people. Aslan, could you please tell us your experience?
Есть люди, которые действительно, вот смотря передачи,
There are people who watch videos on Lateral TV on Creative Society, and they get imbued with these problems. They come to understand the essence of these problems thanks to such conferences and thanks to people who convey this information. So basically, all of us are doing a very important work. And I would really like us, we just don't have other way but to explain, to sincerely talk, to show facts, to involve scientists who still have conscience, who didn't sell it yet, who dared speak the truth through such scientists, and through kindness, through good approach, such a presentation. These people, these are teachers, mostly teachers of their native languages. Like, for example, my mom is a teacher at school, at secondary school, and I found out I got some contacts of people from her. I started getting in touch with them. I wasn't even aware how to, provide them with real information, because the conference lasted more than 11 hours, and before, every simultaneous interpreter, I admire all of them. It's a very difficult work. It's a hard work, and I always say, it's like for the second or third time I'm given the floor, and I say all the time that those people who are off screen, those who edit videos, who ensure their work is kind of invisible, but they have a tremendous effect. And these are all wonderful people. Thanks a lot to them, to all hosts and to everyone, because it's all a hard work. I'm watching videos, and I would like to say to you, Robert, using this opportunity, that you are so strong and so spiritually motivated. I don't know how to explain it, but so many videos I participated, this one of them, it's kind of difficult, but I see you in all the videos, and everyone who participates, actively participates. I really admire you. This is really a real admiration to simultaneous interpreters as well.
Not at all, Aslan. And yes, I agree that these conferences and also the roundtables and everything, they're important because it shows people and viewers that they are not alone, because the worst thing is the hopelessness. Because many times people even have a feeling and they see that something's wrong, but they go like, oh, I'm the only one who sees that. This shows them that they are not the only one. And basically, thanks to our simultaneous translators, we are able to bring this information to basically almost everybody around the world. And that's why it is so important that we were able to find people who were able to translate simultaneously to multiple languages. Awol, can you tell us, translating the conference, the whole conference, how was it? Because I think that's something great. How did you manage to do that?
First of all, just as I heard from one of my friends from Olga to translate online, I just want to do it because I heard many information, read and get many inspiring facts from that program, and I wanted to spread that facts to other pupils who can hear my language. Then, it is difficult and when you do it by when you are only one, it is difficult because translating the document from English language to the Amharic language is just when you translate directly by using translator, somehow it lacks the, in Amharic, when you said one word or one sentence, it should be done according to that language law. Then when you directly translate from English to Amharic, if you literally want to translate manually, it is difficult because the conference has large content and many topics. So when you do it individually, somehow just because of the happiness you can get from spreading that knowledge, that gives me strength to do that. So before that, I try many things to get another translator, and I ask them by email, on their TikTok, on Facebook. I asked many of my friends, but they refuse to do it. Because in Ethiopia, there is many, there is a political situation in Ethiopia based on different ethnic groups. For example, my first language is Afan Oromo, and Amharic is one of the Ethiopian official language. It is heard by many peoples on the country. So even when I do the translation by Amharic language, many of my friends ask me why you didn't do it translation by your mother tongue. Because this makes them, or the political situation makes them to think like this. And because of the facts, and because you feel humanness in yourself, you didn't choose any language, ethnic groups, and different political views. Just you can be a human, and humanity should get the truth or the truth of this world. And I just can't get any translator or somebody to help me. And also even Olga introduced me one of my friends from Ethiopia, and she gives me the phone number. I asked him, and many of them asks you about the money. How many dollar or money you are getting from this translation? They didn't believe I am doing it voluntarily, because generally the view of many people or the world, the current view of the world is just to get something benefit from what you are doing. Even by telling the truth, you should get some benefit or business. This thinking dominated in the world. So even I translated that, because of my mother tongue is different language, my accent also goes to that language, and not the same with the Amharic accent. And when I ask them to listen my interpretation, and they comment to me, it is not good, but from where you get that scientific facts, how you know it? And they ask me such a question. They didn't even realize the facts they are hearing, even in English version and in Amharic version. But on the other side, they know the truth. They know what's going on the world by climate changes and many different problems facing the world. And interested in such knowledge and such information. And when you go to acting and you ask them to do interpretation, even helping in sharing the information to other peoples, they refuse it, because this view of the if you are dominated by politics, even you are not only you are human to your ethnic group, and you try to dominate other ethnic groups. So because of this, they didn't even speak that language I'm translating in, because of the political situation in my country. So generally it is difficult. Translating simultaneous interpretation is difficult. I try to translate all of the conference, but I stopped at 7 hours because it is difficult, That makes the conference not to be translated into Amharic, all of the programs. And generally, what I am doing makes me to be strengthened and continue translating the document even after the conference. I'm doing the translation, trying to translate all of the conference into Amharic and spread on social media and inviting all of my friends to watch the program. And generally, it is, great things doing the translation online. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Awal. Thank you so much, Aslan. That's exactly the proof of creative society. That's the example of creative society in action. And we see that this project is already unites people from around the world because it is based on the value of human life. In a creative society, each person is important. And this is the essence. And this is the fundamental difference from the consumer format where we live right now. Here, right now, in the consumer format, we will not find the way out of those crises in which we are beginning to think today. And all of us saw it today, small part of that. We discussed it, we watched the video, and that truth, this face of the consumer format is so ugly. It's very, very, very hard to look at that. And therefore, more than ever before, our common future depends on actions of every one of us. And the information about the possibility of building creative society, the information about this conference needs to reach everyone, because only together, by uniting the potential of everyone on the planet, can we not only stop the climatic threat, but we can turn out our planet into a thriving world. And once again, the conference is the biggest proof of it. 180 countries, 100 languages of simultaneous interpretation, 12 hours of live broadcast. That's the proof what we can do when we act together, when we're united by one common goal. Dear viewers, dear speakers, thank you so much for being with us today. It's a pleasure to see you, to talk to you about the most crucial and the most vital question of our society today. And dear viewers, if you have any questions regarding to the conference, please send us to info@creativesociety.com. We would love to give you an answer. We would love to show your question on our roundtables. Thank you so much for being with us today. And we will see you soon. Bye-bye.
Thank you, everybody. It's being here.
Thank you.